Okay. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act of Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. We will begin by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. You may be seated. Okay, we'll start our meeting with our roll call of our members that are present. Ms. Debbie Villa-Gomez.
Here.
Ms. Maria Cruz Perez.
Present.
Mr. Sean Glovier.
Here.
Ms. Maria Douglas.
Here.
Ms. Felicia Moody.
Here.
Mr. Esteban Cerda.
Here.
And I am Darrell Owen. So we have a full board present on tonight and no members are absent. Next, we'll go to our section 3, which will be the public comments on any agenda items. And Mr. Cerda, do we have anyone?
No.
So we have no one signed up to speak on any of our agenda items.
There you go.
And Mr. Cerda, do we have anyone signed up to speak on any non-agenda items? And no one has signed up to speak on our non-agenda items. So that will move us down to section number 4, which would be, section 5, which would be special district recognitions. And for that, I'll turn it over to Dr. G.
Okay, our first one is going to be our KHS graduation ceremony for Bryce Watson. Mr. Cagle.
Yes, sir. The family could not make that tonight, and so
Okay.
we may have to do that tonight. And so I will get back with you guys at a later date with the family and all of those things. And so we will have to postpone that tonight at request of the family.
Okay, and that now brings us to our Wildcat Success Center graduation.
Okay. It has been a good spring. We're going to have lots of recognitions for Kennedale High School students tonight. Some of those we put off from previous board meetings. We have a special performance for the board tonight. I have a list before me of 17 young men and women that we know at the Wildcat Success Center. I was giving this to the counselors before our meeting that are nearing or have completed graduation. So these were either they have completed or soon will. And so I would like to just announce some of those names. Some of these graduates will attend our graduation ceremony. Some have chosen to do other things through this year. But this has been a great success story, our Success Center. Mr. G has played a key role in starting that center and all of those things. And so I do appreciate him in helping us get those graduation rates to where they need to be. But we have Michelle Amador, and I have one tonight that we're going to recognize. His name is Jaquan Bailey, Justin Cooper Swafford, Evan Nagler Story, Taylor Ritzhoff, Valeria Vasquez, Ella Lowry, Ashley Jensen, Jack Longshore, Joseph Smith, Logan Hershey, Derek Dews, Amina June Ling, Haley McCollum, Caden Brown, Aiden King, and Daniel Cooper. So those are some students that I just wanted to point out in this ceremony have gotten caught up and gotten to where they're going to be at near graduation in the class of 2024. And so, but tonight we, at the request of a family and our student, I'm going to ask at this time this young man come forward. And ladies and gentlemen, this is Jaquan Bailey. I want to recognize Jaquan, and I know when he came to Kennedale High School with us, I know looking at his eyes, he wanted to graduate, and lots of times this young man could have folded and gave it in. He didn't, all right, and we're proud of him tonight. His mother's here, Kimberly Olson. Kimberly, where are you? And grandmother. Jaquan wanted to recognize his grandmother, Sandy Olson. The rest of his family is back there. I appreciate you guys for continuing to support this young man. And Jaquan, just a special note, I don't know if he's here, so I'm gonna have to look around the room. His most influential educator was Coach Bircher, who runs our Success Center. And I will make sure I put in a phone call to Mr. Bircher to let you know how much he appreciates him. But without further ado, this is what he wanted, this is what he worked for,
Yes.
okay? And I think it's actually in here. His diploma is with us tonight. We don't do that at the real graduation, so certainly it's special. Because people lose those and drop those. But Jaquan, you've worked hard for this, so here it is, man.
Very good.
Oh, wait, I got one final thing. Mr. G, let's go back. To graduate,
go.
Mr. G, you want to do this? It is our tradition. When graduates arrive at graduation, they wear their tassels on the right.
Graduate,
Graduate.
please place your tassel on the left side of your hat.
All right.
There we go. Eric, if y'all want to come down with him and get a picture with the board, come on down.
You're fine. Mr. Owens wants to take one or two pictures today.
So the other student, is that the one that wasn't able to make it?
Yes.
Okay, while they're getting pictures, I'm gonna let you know, I've had a little, my computer's frozen. And so I did not do my backup plan here. I did not print my list for tonight. If y'all would give me a second, I may have to go to it in email, or if anybody's got it in front of you, but I couldn't access it on my computer. They're working on it, so.
What do you need? Choir.
UIL choir.
Choir's next.
UIL choir, you got it fixed, okay. Let's see. I'm good, I'm glad you did, 'cause there it is, sweet. All right.
Oh, look at Dr. Keys now. And Miss West is not doing too well either. I know. You're good.
Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we're gonna recognize choir. I said it's been quite a spring. This spring, I felt a new pep in the step, and as principal, I told Mr. G that today when we did good things at our meeting and everything, but Kennedale High School, we are starting to have some levels of success that we're used to seeing again in the spring with our student competitions. Went to UIL, we took 28 members this past weekend. We had a state qualifier there. We missed some opportunities, but hey, it was a good show. We had a good time. But also I'm gonna recognize board next month. I'm gonna look at some of our athletic teams who've had some 8 all-state academics, and then we'll have our state update from some other organizations. So all the way through May and graduation, we're gonna keep going strong. Tonight, where's Mr. Skank? Come on down, okay? Mr. Skank he's been how many years at the Kennedale Choir? 14.
Wow.
And I want you to come up and tell everybody you had an extremely successful spring. I've got listed names there if you need it.
Good evening, board. Thank you for having us tonight. I appreciate you having the choir. We're going to sing a couple songs for y'all, and what we're going to do is a piece from our UIL competition from last month, where we got a second division rating on stage with our varsity choir. Very proud of them. It's called Good Timber Grows, and then we're going to sing a piece. Our 10-member ensemble is going to sing their state qualifying ensemble that they'll be going to state in May for competition, TSSEC competition. So we're going to do the varsity choir first, if you don't mind. Good Timber Grows.
Yeah.
Where's best? There? Okay.
Just like in class.
Yeah, you need to spread out on this front row.
Yeah.
Spread out right here, y'all. Spread out right here. Right here. million kids attending a state in a month in May, we also have Keyshawn. He's going to be singing his solo at state as well. Keyshawn. Congratulations to them, and I'm so proud of our varsity group. So thank you for having us.
Very good, thank you.
Call your name.
Yes, sir. And now, Mr. Skank, again, I'd like to we're going to get a picture with the board over here on this side. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Mr. Skank a round of applause. 14 years.
Short people in the
All right, our
back.
choir, state and solo ensemble finalists, we already recognized Keyshawn Patrick. We are also going to look at this mixed madrigal, is that how we say that, ensemble? And so Abby Berry, Brielle Lyons, Samantha Castronuevo, Lakin Lacey, Kaylee Bittens, Callie, I know that, Chloe Tran, Mitchell McBrew, Joshua Sanchez, Elijah Doan, and once again, Keyshawn Patrick, 2 categories. Do I got one?
Yeah, you got 4.
Did y'all make the All-State? Okay. These were our All-State qualifiers, and so I know they count, but you guys are certainly welcome to join us in the picture.
Yes.
All right, great job, choir. We appreciate you. Good luck at state.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next 2 organizations we're going to look at are student organizations that we have that are relatively new here at Kimdale High School. They are very technical student organizations. I'm going to let choir get out of here before I recognize the next group. They are eager to go. A lot of those will also be in our district-wide talent show, Kennedale's Got Talent. I know Mr. G was a judge in the prelims, and who else did I see? Via Gomez. Via Gomez was and Miss Dunlap and Miss West. And so, when is the final night? That's this
May
week?
18th.
May. Oh, so we're going to wait till May. But we got a district-wide. I know some of those kids. I saw videos of their rehearsals. So, go and see that. All right, we're going to look at TAFE and FBLA. TAFE is Texas Association of Future Educators. I'm going to bring the CTE education and training teacher down, Ms. Springfield. She also is an assistant cheer coach, and so she's going to introduce our state qualifiers. And then this is always good news, national qualifiers. So,
Right.
Hi, thank you for having us, and thank you for letting us celebrate the excellent work of these students. This year is the first year that we have competed as an organization, second year in our chapter, and we made it to state the first time competing, and we were like, yes, we made it to state. And then we made it to nationals, and now we're going to Washington, D.C., and we're super excited about that. So when I call your name, come on down. Can I please see Aiden Golden? He made it to state on public speaking at the varsity level. Scout Harpster and Autumn Rollator made it to state on chapter yearbook. Okay, and then we have Autumn Rollator, who also made it to state for Educational Leadership Fundamentals Test at the JV level. And Scout Harpster, also for Educational Leadership Fundamentals Test, the varsity level. This was a 50-question test that they took, and they got a 90 or higher. There were like 500 students that took that test, and August Tidwell actually placed to be able to write the essay, and that there were only 11 students in the state that were able to do that. So.
Wow.
And then for interactive bulletin board at the elementary level, we have August Tidwell, who couldn't be with us, and Autumn Rollator. All right.
They presented that at the 4E Expo, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So they created a bulletin board in which it's basically a self-run center for first grade students, right? They did it all, so that's why I'm like first grade, right? First grade students to visualize mathematics problems, and so they created the word problem, had manipulative apples that they moved around to add the problems, and then translated that to number sentences and word sentences. So it was a visual representation of mathematics, and they did a great job bringing that all together. And then they are also our national qualifiers, so they qualified to go to Washington, D.C. this summer at the end of June. We're going to take a little vacation and visit the Capitol that we've never seen before, and we're so excited about it. So here is your national. Of all of the events that went to state, we had four students that went to state. All of them received some sort of recognition, or well, 3/4 of them received some sort of recognition, and so we're super proud of them. They either got a gold award. The interactive bulletin board was actually the only event that we took to state that had the ability to qualify for nationals. So next year we'll be taking more events that can qualify. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we will keep this tradition going. All right.
Very good.
Thank you.
Take a picture with them?
You have national, are you doing
Yes,
national?
this is
National
Autumn
check.
Rollator and August Tidwell.
Okay, all right.
I said, yes, that's me. I'm on stage.
And Miss Springfield is about to become Mrs. Vaughn.
Yep. And thank you, Ms. Springfield. It's been a big week for her, and I hear she's also been given a new title, a new position. So I'll let Mr. G tell that news if he'd like to. But,
She's gonna be one of our academic coaches.
she's going to be one of our instructional coaches. She's been training these young kids to teach, and now she's going to be doing that full time with the teachers.
All right.
And our math teachers, and I can't think of anybody better. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have now the other organization. Our sponsor could not be here, so our CTE coordinator, Dr. Lomax is going to come up for Future Business Leaders of America. While she's on her way down, I know that Taffy national qualifiers are going to Washington, D.C., and I believe that our FBLA national qualifier is going to Orlando. And I want to thank our board, Mr. G, our district leaders, and Director of Counseling and CT Coordinator for making that happen for these students. So I appreciate that.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Ms. Pope was unable to be here tonight, so she did write a statement, so I'd like to go ahead and read that first. She wanted to express her gratitude for Kennedale ISD and Kennedale High School for providing this opportunity for our students to participate in FBLA. Although many students are not able to attend tonight due to work or other reasons, every student that participated in FBLA this year has exceeded my wildest expectations of accomplishment. These kids have worked really hard to be as competitive as possible and have succeeded developing their leadership skills in the process. Thank you for recognizing these exceptional young people. So at this time, I'd like to go ahead and recognize the students and the categories that they placed in. Braden Godley and Walker Hayes. Many of these students compete as a team in FBLA, and so I'll be reading their names as a team. They placed first place in state qualifying for data analysis. Nehemiah Mythica, first place in computer game and simulation programming. Kevon Prince, first place client service. Larius Swing, second place job interview. Valencia Munoz, second place impromptu speaking. Adrian Colin, second place entrepreneurship. Andre Ayton and Nayeda Cervantes, third place introduction to business presentation. Elam Almanza Maldonado and Ariana Curran for fourth place introduction to social media. Aiden Golden, fourth place impromptu speaking. Sydney Darden, fourth place introduction to public speaking. Sydney Agiano and Blake Dunn, fifth place sales presentation. Mackenzie Fields, fifth place introduction to financial math. Alexia Berry, Deja Ensley, and Kalia Ireland, fifth place broadcast journalism. Candace Jones and Brianna Marquez, fifth place introduction to business presentation. And Giselle Torres and Alyssa Marquez, fifth place visual design. So we want to these students and Ms. Pope worked tirelessly throughout the year preparing for this competition, and it shows in how well they performed. Just like Taffy, it was their second year as a charter and their first year in competition. So again, we are definitely showing our Wildcat excellence in our students here. I also, for our national, as Mr. Cagle had mentioned already, we have one national qualifier who will be attending national competition in Orlando at the end of June, and that is Nehemiah Mythica. We're gonna do it.
That's good there.
All right. Kennedale School Board, while they're returning to their seats, again, thank you for all the opportunities that we give kids. I think about Nehemiah right there. He qualified in computer game and programming. And I think about the opportunities we give kids in fine arts, and CTE and all of those things. I'm very appreciative of Kennedale ISD and the programs we have. We have graduation on May 24th. If you will please check your emails. I've sent y'all some information. I know that one of you told me you weren't going. I'm trying to get parking passes and all those things. And some of you have graduates, and if you want to give your kid your diploma, make sure you fill those things out. So I've got your name and ready on the list. Y'all get with Mr. G with any updates to any of that, and I appreciate you.
So it was always great to celebrate the success of our students and our future, and Kennedale ISD and Kennedale High School is doing a great job with that. So very, very proud of all of our sponsors and all of our kids. Thank y'all. We got recognitions of our staff coming up. Paul Words, we're gonna do a little bit differently. So Villa Gomez, you wanna lead us off, or?
I think,
Or Mr.
I think, I don't know who's got the first part of the list. I think it's on this side. I think we go like this,
Yeah, I
right?
think I'm at the
All
end,
right,
but.
go that way. There you go. Sorry.
Well, I'm gonna start off by saying, if I mess up a name, mispronounce a name, from the bottom of my heart, I apologize. And I think the rest, same for the rest of us.
We should also say that there were over 500 Paul Awards this month. 500.
So,
That's awesome.
so we're gonna give Dr. G a break, but now I have to pronounce some names.
I'm outsourcing. You know?
Outsourcing
All right.
the name butchering.
So, Wildcat Success Center, we have Michael Hughes. The Central Admin Office, we have Shanna Mode. Patterson, we have Rosemary Reeves. Rachel Parker. David Bubel. Yes, sorry. Cecilia Buchanan. Elvira Hurtado. Billy Nettles. Sarah Holman, Rachel Martinez, Michael Kwan has 8, Terry Moore, Linda Reagan, Amy Hewson-Rotter has 2, Shannon Blair, Anna Sanchez, Phyllis Shamoudi, and from the junior high I have 1, Sean Burt. No?
Very good, no, but that's okay.
Yes. It's on my list.
So I called the school to get the pronunciation, so I hope I get it right. Thank you very much to the front office staff who let me call twice just to make sure I had it. So first, we're recognizing Sean Burt with 20. Daphne Hunt had 3. Araceli Chavez had 23. She has a nickname that we could not get together. So Araceli Chavez, thank you. Marcus Ross, 20. Jessica Gilbert, 18. Johnny Walker, 8. Megan Lockwood, 4. Michaela Sherm, 9. Angela Bruce. Coach Cone, 7. Officer Bullard, 7. Brittany Cox, 2. Mr. Julio Ortega, 11. John Johnson, 3. Miss Applin, Casey Irwin. Sarah Sapa. Lindsay Hammonds, 5. Phil Irby, 2. Wayne Maddox, 5. Chris Hartsfield, 4. Sherilyn Pertle, 2. And Phelan Faro from the junior high school. Thank you for your service.
So
Dr. Douglas.
If you called twice to the junior high, I called twice to the junior high to make sure my names were right. So we really need to thank the front office staff
Yes,
for helping
their front
us
office
today.
staff. Thank you.
So I have Christy Dunn with 3, James Sapp, Jennifer Hamilton, Daniel Wager with 2, Caitlin Grant, Stevie Moore with 6, Parisa Altman with 6, Heather Beach 2, Sonia Miller 13, Maria Ortega 3, Roger Relaford 2, Brandon Lawson, Melinda Bowles 4, Krista Sheffield, Rhonda Smith, Deja Jennerson, Casey Thompson, Katie Greenwood, Juan Diaz with 2, Chris Hendry, Victor Rodriguez, Ophelia Roman, and Chris Farmer with 2.
Awesome. So I will be doing Arthur and Delaney, and I did not call to get correct pronunciation. So if I make a mistake, please charge it to my head, not to my heart. From Arthur, Miss Maggie Inlow, Sonia Pittman, Tiffany Stevens, Angela Greenwood, Haley Norman, Jasmine Herrera, And Aaron Hitt had 2. From Delaney, Terry Allen had 7. Kim Cashburn, 4. Janet Fred, Ashley Arbor, Natalie Atten, Shelley Wooden, Stephanie Stevens, Kim Jones had 2. Miss Melissa Cook, Donna Wynn had 2, and Kelsey Matthews.
I have the first column from the high school and also made no calls to confirm them, but they're not too bad. So Erin Lee had 10. Emily Pope had 11. Coach Munson, 15. John Bowles with his Chef Bowles, yeah, he had 5. No first name, Mr. McNutt has 2. Andrew Kupka, 7. Tammy Bergier has 2. Lacey Gowan, 4. Doug Roth, 3. Dr. Allison has 3. Kim Hunt has 4. Philip Irby. Kelly Wilson has 2. Jeremy Wakeland has 2. Demora Jones. Rachel Brooks has 4. Monica Stevens, probably the greatest of all time, has 37. Kristen Dunn has 2. Wendy Hale has 5. Joseph Lucero. Jenna French, 10. Araceli Modica, 4.
All right, and I'll continue on with the high school, and I apologize, because I did not call either. Shelley Pajewski, for 2. Tracy Hadaway, Melissa Bearden, Bethany Long, Carrie Allen.
Melissa Bearden had 3.
Oh, Melissa Bearden had 3, I'm sorry, see, I can't read. And Bethany Long had 4. Carrie Allen had 2. Candy Alstott, Cole Ward with 5. Shannon Johnson, Catherine McBroom with 2, Tracy Spinks with 2, Kim Padgett, Sarah Kruger with 3, Matt Casey, Christina Hemmond, David Rodaker, Lauren Wedin, Allison Booble with 2, Christy Vick, Kylie Robinson, Michael Cagle with 5, Brittany Nunn, and Laura Spray.
And I'm finishing out the high school with Abel Rico with 3, Joshua Morotsky with 3, Officer Milliken, Cameron Massengale, Marissa Church with 2, Connor Bordelon Ross with 4, Christy Hillett with 5, Chuck Robinson, Julie Naughton with 6, Robert Irwin, Carol George, Wendy Thacker with 2, Kaylee Bond with 12, Melissa Springfield with 3, Zachary Tate, Todd Reimer with 2, Gary Burkham, George Griffin with 2, Julian Beard with 6, Shelley Klee with 2, and Coach Charlie Emmons.
I don't know what y'all are complaining about. I thought that went really well. I kind of like that. You know,
Yeah.
so I am going to finish this off with some special recognitions and reading why these people were given the awards that they were given. So I'm going to start with Maestro Monica Stevens at the high school, who received 37 PAW awards this month alone. And she's been on the list numerous times before throughout this year. But this is from a student. It says, Maestro Stevens has a bubbly and energetic personality that makes each class we have a joyous experience. Additionally, she has a varied approach to teaching that gives us the chance to work outside of our comfort zone to learn Spanish concepts in a fun way. And that, to me, is the secret of teaching. So everybody, you can give her a round of applause. Ms. Celie Chavez at the junior high school received 23 PAW awards this month. This is also from a student. It says, Ms. Chavez should be recognized because she was my best and most memorable teacher. She always went above, so this may have been a past student, the way it's written, may have even been a high school student who wrote this. So Ms. Chavez should be recognized because she was my best and most memorable teacher. She always went above and beyond for my education and kept my ADHD in mind. For example, Ms. Chavez went out of her way to get a rubber band for my chair so I could bounce my feet on it, tremendously helping me with my ADHD. She also brought fidget toys for me, which is just another way Ms. Chavez went above and beyond to help with my ADHD and demonstrate a commitment to excellence in Kennedale ISD. Ms. Chavez was always understanding and took extra precautions to make sure every student got the same education. Ms. Chavez always had a smile and a great attitude every day, no matter how her day was going. Teachers like Ms. Chavez are extremely rare and should be used as an example for other teachers. Marcus Ross at the junior high also, he had 20 Paul Awards this month. Mr. Ross has not been here very long, but he makes his class so much fun while still maintaining a good learning environment. He deserves so much respect for being able to handle so many children while making it the best class. Thank you, Mr. Ross, also from a student.
He's a first-year teacher, and he's doing amazing.
So, big kudos to all of our staff. I love the recognitions that they get, and I love the fact that I didn't have to read all of them. All right.
Yeah, congratulations to all of our honorees for this month. Okay.
All right.
All right, so we'll move to section 6, which is our correspondence, and we have one correspondence that we received from the Kennedale Rotary Club card, and I'll read that. And that says, "Thank you for participating as a contestant in our Chili Supper Roundup. Our outcome was outstanding, thanks in part to your members. We are grateful for your commitment to our organization and our community." And that was signed by multiple members of the Kennedale Rotary Club. And just to remind everybody, the school board, Mr. Gobi, would you like to go ahead and speak on it?
Yeah, I would actually like to just remind everybody that we are the grand champions of the chili cook-off. Third time in a row. And I keep that trophy next to my bed, so, yeah.
And to-
Very good. Dr. Douglas, Mr. Glover.
And I'm also gonna give an opportunity for the lady who actually cooked it, Ms. Douglas, to go ahead and say something.
We both.
Yes, we both did, but we got both trophies. So he's
Yeah.
got a trophy and I've got a trophy because we won Grand Champion and People's Choice
Choice.
Award.
We
So,
swept.
so,
That's a
yeah.
first.
So that's a
Clean sweep.
three-peat and we have both of them. So we're
know-
up for the
Very good.
challenge next year.
You know which Rotary member didn't sign that card? This guy.
Who also cooked and did a great job.
In
Just,
second place, just not first.
there you go.
Should have won.
Well, congratulations to all the Chili Supper contestants as well. And thank you to the Rotary Club for sending us that correspondence.
And let me say, it was Miss Cruz Perez's recipe, winning recipe last year.
Nope.
It starts with Debbie's.
It was the first year.
It started with Debbie's, and it got a Puerto Rican flavor to it, and it got sent this way.
And then we
Very
just
good.
added some few little extra Sean and Maria kind of things, and we did it again.
My
Very
son
good.
James was there too.
Yes.
So, he chopped a few onions, so, opened some cans.
Well, I was not there, so I did not participate, but I was there at the end to taste it and voting, so, okay. All right, so,
Very good.
we'll now move to section 7 of our agenda, which is the consent agenda items. Okay. Okay, so. So the agenda items, all items on the agenda on this section will be adopted with one motion. And, let's see, along with approved budget item number 14, along with the other items of consent agenda. We were supposed to cover that independently, or?
No, I think we can cover it. I mean, do we have to do separate, do you need it separate for the budget amendment? I mean, it can just be done with the whole consent agenda. So.
Okay, all right, great. So, no one has mentioned anything about the consent agenda, so I'll accept a motion to accept the consent items.
Mr. President, I move to approve all items under the consent agenda. as
Second.
presented.
So that was a motion by Mr. Glovier and second by Ms. Maria Douglas. All in favor of accepting the consent agenda, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes unanimously. Okay, so we'll move now to section 8, which was the beginning of our information only section. Dr. G.
And the financial statements are 8A, just for y'all's reading pleasure. You can read through those. Nothing that we need to go through. So we move on to 8B, which would be the House Bill 3 CCMR update, which is part of our balanced scorecard. And Dr. Devlin will give that report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Tonight I have the privilege to provide you a program update with our House Bill 3 rules, particularly pertaining to our college, career, and military readiness. So in December 2020, the Board of Trustees approved student outcome goals as required by House Bill 3 in three key areas, and tonight we're going to be focusing on college, career, and military readiness. Before we dive in, I just wanted to provide a little refresher of what CCMR represents in the state of Texas and the components and indicators that go in to earning CCMR measures. So under college, students can meet college entrance through math and reading through TSIA 2, ACT, SAT, or a college prep course, which we use Texas College Bridge. They also have the opportunity to earn college credit hours through AP courses, University of Texas on-ramps courses, dual credit courses, level 1 or level 2 certificates, which is through our CTE program in partnership with TCC, and an associate degree, and currently we don't have an associate's degree program. They also have an opportunity to earn CCMR points through the career pathway through earning industry-based certifications, graduating with a completed IEP in workforce readiness, and graduating under special ed services with an advanced degree plan. And then military is back with last year's graduating class, and so we'll talk about that in just a little bit. So this is also just an explanation as why CCMR lags in accountability years. So we're looking at graduates from 2022 in this accountability, and it's because there's so many data sources that comprise CCMR. We have some that are submitted through our PEAM submission through campus, which is on the left side here of the chart. We have some that are submitted through Texas Higher Education College Board, through College Board itself, through TSDS PEAMs, on-ramps, UT sends in their own scores, and then we have a new way of ensuring that our military is accurate, and that's a form that we complete with the enlistment officer, and then we upload the TA form into TEAL. So diving into the data, if we had a crystal ball in 2020 when we made these goals, if all the accountability changes that CCMR alone has seen through the years, we may have chosen different metrics. But last year we are. And so we had a target baseline of 69% in 2019, and so we set those goals starting from there. And we had 73% in 2020, and then this year we have 56%. So though we have not quite reached our annual target goal, we are progressing and showing growth in those areas. And then we have our subpopulations below that we're continuously monitoring and making sure we're addressing those needs as well. In addition to our outcome goal, we have progress measures in 3 different areas, starting with TSI. So the percent of students that meet the Texas Success Initiative criteria in both ELA, reading, and mathematics will increase from 49% to 71% by August 2024. So again, missing our yearly goal, we are progressing and growing in those areas. The next yearly progress update is the percent of students that will earn an industry-based certification will increase from 7% to 39% by August 2024. And again, meeting our goal of 31%, but progressing from our 12% last year. And then finally, the percent of students that will meet CCMR military ready will increase from 0% to 10% by August 2024. And if you remember, military was removed altogether from CCMR because districts were potentially fabricating their numbers. And so then it's come back in with last year's graduating class. And so we've continued to measure it because we foresaw that it would be coming back in. But we are also measuring readiness, so how students are scoring on the ASVAB, which we offer at least 3 times a year, because it's in alignment with how our other assessments are offered as well. So our goal was growing 2% each year, and so we have stayed at about 2% since last year, and then our readiness has gone up since last year, but a little bit decreased since 2021. So just a couple of reminders, so CCMR is 2 years behind, so we're looking at class of 2022, and there was a CCMR refresh that was implemented in 23 that was retroactive. So they gave us a change for graduating class that we couldn't really touch necessarily, so this is just a little bit of a chart to show some accountability changes through the years, because a lot of the question, we started off so strong with 70% being CCMR met, and how are we now landing in the 50s and staying in the 50s, and the target has continuously moved. Not to say that we don't have areas for growth, because we absolutely do, where we're consistently making sure that we're meeting the needs, meeting the needs of accountability, but also meeting the needs of our students, and then also making sure that what's happening is showing up in our students and that they're invested in it. And it's also, it's a little bit of a wait to see those data changes in accountability because it's such a lag. So looking specifically at CTE, because this is one that came back in with last year's graduating class. So now, not just earning an IBC, students have to have completed and a program of study and earned an IBC for it to count in accountability. So we have a very robust offering of our CT programs. We have 13 programs of study. And just comparing our CT programs enrollment in between district and state, looking at, we have 36% compared to the 26% in state, and that's because we have one 8th grade course currently for high school credit. And then we have 82% of our high school students enrolled in CT program, and we have about 48% of them as completers right now. So to be a completer, that is a student who has completed 3 or more courses for 4 more credits, including an advanced course, level 3 or 4 with an improved program of study, or a concentrator. A student has completed 2 or more courses for at least 2 credits in a single program of study. And the onset of CTE, the spirit was for students to explore different careers. And now they really want students to pick a program and stay with it and finish it and become a completer or a concentrator. These are our programs of study and all of our industry-based certifications that align with it. All of our programs of study, except one, have an approved IBC. And we actually just had a meeting today to find an IBC that would align with our program of study that's currently lacking an IBC to finish. We also have 3 levels 1 certificates offered through TCC, and that is through welding, automotive, and then next year we'll be offering a construction inspection technician program, which we're very excited about. And so those will all be through our South Campus. Every 2 years for CTE with Perkins accountability, we have a CLNA, Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment. It's an opportunity for us to really dive into our CT data and where we can make some targeted improvements. And the state provides us data with how our CT learners are comparing to the state baseline CT learners. And in most all areas, we are advancing and growing, except in currently our academic proficiency in reading, language, arts, and then program quality attained recognized, which is students taking and passing their IBC, which we know is an opportunity for growth. In addition, just a reminder, the refresh that took effect in January 23 applied to 2022 graduates. So at that time, there wasn't anything we could do with those graduates because they had already left. They really changed the targets for what was an A, B, C, and D. So looking at CCMR through the years, and then also just noting the different accountability formula changes that we've had to endure, I want us to focus on currently our class of 2024 is sitting at 70% CCMR met. That's this year's seniors. And we hope to be higher than that by the time they leave. Now granted, we will not see that until accountability year 2025. But we are tracking that every current student, making sure that they are CCMR met and that it's intentional and impactful for their post-secondary decisions. Even though we're not meeting our current outcome goals for House Bill 3, we have shown progress among most all areas, looking all the way back from 2021, and so I just wanted to highlight that here, especially in looking at our college prep course, because we had no college prep opportunity outside of the TSI, ACT, SAT, and now that we've had that college prep, we went from 12%, 0% to 12%. Looking at some highlights from last year's taper to this year's taper, we've grown in our college-ready students. Our emergent bilingual students went from 0% to 31.6%. Economically disadvantaged CCMR met, our TSI criteria math college-ready, on-ramps completion, career-ready, industry-based certifications, graduating with completed IEP and workforce readiness, and AP exams. This, I think, is important to show how many CCMR opportunities we offer assessment-wise for our students. This is just how many assessments we've offered this year with TSI and IBC still taking place, 1,437 total assessments. So with this data, where are we taking our students? It definitely takes a village. All of this is not being done in isolation. It takes making sure we're working with our CT department assessment and accountability. Our counselors are working on 4-year plans, academic and post-secondary advising, scheduling, our advanced academics, our special student services, and also our PEEMS. So looking at all the things we've implemented in the last 2 years, we have some very exciting things coming next year. We have our dual credit CT kinesiology, dual credit CT construction inspection, which is a level 1 certification, dual credit psychology and sociology courses. We have a new IVC for robotics, and then a new IVC potentially for our health services, which is the community health worker. Adding honors algebra 1 at the high school. We will have a new test platform, SMOOP, which is offering individualized testing plans for students so they can be more successful on their AP, SAT, ACT, TSI. CT level 1 courses at our junior high, and hopefully moving more down that way as the years come. And then additional CTSOs. You just heard great things from our FBLA and our education and training, and so next year we'll have an arts, AV, and technology and communications cluster. In addition, after completing our MOA audit the year prior, ESC 11 reached out to us to partner with us in working together on an effective advising framework. So myself and a committee of educators from the district are working with an ESC coach on effective advising framework, which is specifically directed towards improving our CCMR goal. So we're completing a gap analysis, a diagnostic, seeing where our gaps are that we need to improve, and creating grade level expectations from pre-K all the way through 12 to ensure that all students are CCMR met. And as always, we have our beautiful dashboard that it keeps up-to-date CCMR information if you ever would like to check in. And that is all I have. Any questions?
So, I understand we're doing better in the last couple of years. But those numbers of our performance versus our goals were pretty big. What was, normally when I look at numbers that big of a difference, either there was a very high over expectation or a very low performance. So what area impacted those numbers the way they did?
Certainly. I think we did not anticipate the accountability changes. So when we were sitting at 70% CCMR met, we had that was including students that were completing CTE programs, and then they took that away. And so then we recognized that was an opportunity for us to grow in academic and college ready. And so since then, there's been 2 more accountability changes for CCMR. And that is not an excuse, it's just an explanation, because we are moving and pivoting as we need to, but that has had a major impact. In addition, the goals were set in December 2020, and then I think the effects of just kids being in and out of school and offering those opportunities to them has also impacted that, maintaining that 50% CCMR met. However, this year's seniors are sitting at 70%, so that is getting back up towards where we were and where our goals were set.
I also look at, those numbers are 2 years before COVID, and then when you look at COVID, I mean, if you go back to all the graphs, they dropped. On 2020, everything dropped below that. Accountability changed significantly. We set those numbers off of the pre-COVID numbers that we were hitting, and then whenever the accountability changed, all that shifted, and we didn't anticipate it. In fact, they're constantly changing the CCMR standards. They're talking about changing it more with what's going to be allowed for industry-based certifications. That list never seems to be finalized. So.
And it's such a lag. It is a lag data, so it's so hard sometimes to see the impact immediately. It takes a lot of patience to see it in accountability. But we are tracking it up to date and then ensuring that that's showing in accountability too.
Oh, that answer your question?
I'm processing.
I have a question. I love seeing the courses that are gonna be added next year. I'm curious because I was just having this conversation, just last week with someone, with the robotics courses, is that gonna fall under an already existing track, or is that opening up a new engineering or robotics?
It falls under our
qualification?
STEM practicum.
Okay, it'll be in.
Yes.
Gotcha. Very good. I like it.
So to go with what Mr. President said with the data, that's addressed in the CIPs and trying to make sure that we're where we're supposed to be, not just by the overall number, but our subpopulations.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
'Cause that's always a concern of mine is
Yes.
our African-American students are extremely low
Yes.
performing. So when we look at the CIPs, I know people are like, there she goes again. But if we don't address it, it's not gonna change.
Absolutely.
And if we don't bring it to the forefront, we don't know where to target and where to put your resources. So
Yes, absolutely.
I am here again to say the same thing,
Don't
and
apologize
I
for that.
appreciate
that's
because I
what
think
it
it's a
is.
concern of everyone. I wouldn't
Yeah.
We
know,
all see it.
preface that with, not,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a concern.
for everyone.
Yes, we are addressing it, and it is in our district improvement plan in Canvas.
Thank you. To give credit to the schools, it is in the plan. For parents that are here that don't necessarily hear what we hear every month, we are working to address it.
Absolutely.
Any additional questions for her?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you. That would be Dr. Keys.
We need a break? Okay, it is currently 8:10. I think we want to take a 5-minute restroom break, and we'll reconvene at 8:15. So we'll go to break at 8:10. Okay. Returning at 8:20, and we'll continue on with our agenda. And I believe we're now on agenda item 8C, the annual report for school board member continuing education credits. And this for me, Mr. G, wants
Yes.
to read the report on school board's continuing
You
education
have to
credits.
report it out, yes.
Okay, so let's read that, shall we? Okay. Okay, under the State Board of Education rule, completing required continuing education each year of service is a basic obligation and expectation of any sitting board member. As presiding officer of the board, I am required to announce the names of each member who has completed the required continuing education, has exceeded the required continuing education, and is deficient in meeting the required continuing education. The requirement for training are measured as the first anniversary of the date of the trustee's election or appointment to 2-year anniversary of his or her previous training as applicable. There are 8 training areas of board members' continuing education. Number 1, local district orientation. Number 2, orientation to the Texas Education Code. Number 3, post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code. Number 4, team building. Number 5, additional continuing education. Number 6, evaluating student academic performance and setting goals. Number 7, identifying and reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children. 8, school safety. To the extent applicable to each board member, I will announce the completion or deficiency as to required training. At the conclusion of this announcement, I will announce any board member's training in excess of the continuing education requirement.
Second page.
Is there a second page for that?
Scroll
Oh, yeah.
down, yeah.
Okay.
There's a couple.
Okay, number 1, local board orientation. No board members were required to complete the local district orientation for the time period covered by this announcement. 2, orientation to the trustees' education code. No board members were required to complete the local district orientation for the time period covered by this announcement. Number 3, post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code. No board members were required to complete this item either. Number 4, team building. The following board members have completed the annual team building training: Mr. Esteban Cerda, Ms. Maria Cruz Perez, Dr. Maria Douglas, Sean Glovier, Felicia Moody, Darrell Owens, and Debbie Villagomez. Number 5, additional continuing education. The following board members have completed the additional continuing education requirements, and that is Esteban Cerda, Maria Cruz Perez, Maria Douglas, Sean Glovier, Felicia Moody, Darrell Owens, and Debbie Villagomez. And 6, evaluating student academic performance and setting goals. The following board members have completed the biannual training on evaluation student academic performance and setting goals. Esteban Serta, Maria Cruz Perez, Maria Douglas, Sean Glovier, Felicia Moody, Daryl Owens, and Debbie Villagomez. Identifying and reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children. This was completed by Esteban Serta, Maria Cruz Perez, Maria Douglas, Sean Glovier, Felicia Moody, Daryl Owens, and Debbie Villagomez. School safety was completed by Esteban Serta, Maria Cruz Perez, Maria Douglas, Sean Glovier, Felicia Moody, Daryl Owens, and Debbie Villagomez. And for those that exceeded the hours for continuing education for credit period reporting, it was exceeded by Esteban Serta, exceeded by 17 hours. Maria Cruz Perez exceeded by 16 hours. Dr. Maria Douglas exceeded by 23.75 hours. Sean Glovier exceeded by 17 hours. Felicia Moody exceeded by 14 hours. Daryl Owens exceeded by 14 hours. And Debbie Villagomez exceeded by 16.75 hours. So congratulations to each and every one of us for completing and exceeding the required number of training hours. Good job, and good job again.
Because they pay you so much to do those, right?
They do. They pay us tons and tons and tons of money. Okay, so I think that's all for that one.
He's joking. He is joking. We don't
Yes,
get
we
paid.
do, because we don't get paid. Now, section 9, business items requiring action.
Mr. President,
Yes.
can I make a suggestion that, because I know there's, I think, like 6 or 7 items requiring action. Can I make a request to maybe bump the one about the band instruments to the top since they're here waiting? That maybe we do that one first, or discuss it first?
And
If that's okay.
which,
Second.
which section
Did
was
you
that?
make a-
Did you make a motion, Ms.
Yes,
Villagomez?
make a motion, please.
I'll second.
Okay, so that, there is a motion made by Ms. Villagomez, which we're entertaining to change the order of the agenda. I don't know if that necessarily needs to be a motion, but
Because we're changing the
that's
agenda.
just recommendation, so
We'll
I'll
just
go
bump
ahead.
it.
I'll go ahead and
We'll
make
bump
that.
it for time constraints.
So we'll go ahead and move that one up, and that is going to be 9G. So we're gonna go ahead and move 9G up to the next item instead of 9A. So let's skip to 9G, which would be, yes, Dr. G?
Okay. Are you wanting to hear from our band directors?
I don't need to, I know they're here waiting,
Yeah,
so.
they just
didn't
want- I think
want-
they're just anxious to
like-
see what happens, so, but.
Oh, yeah, of
Do you-
course,
are
I
you-
just wanted.
Any objections to us from going 9G? Why don't we just go
No,
to,
no,
we're gonna
please.
go to 9G right now, discuss and consider purchase of band instruments. And Dr. G, who's gonna be doing that?
Well, we've already heard it during our,
Special meeting.
I thought there was gonna be a
Special meeting, yeah.
presentation made for that.
so, that's what I'm asking, do you wanna hear from the band directors before you?
Maybe they
vote?
I think that would be great.
They would be.
Okay, so Ms. Wilson and whoever you wanna bring down to speak with you, if you wanna have anybody else speak or come down, kinda give us an idea of what you're looking for and why, so, okay, the need, so, yeah.
We got a little bit of an overview too.
Okay.
Good evening, and thank you for hearing from me tonight. Basically, where we are at in our band program is we have grown by over 79 children in the past 2 years, and we have not grown in inventory to accommodate these children. Our projections over the next few years with the incoming 6th grade classes and our junior high program thriving is to only get bigger, and in the next 2 years, we're gonna have over 450 students in our band program. Currently, our budget does not, cannot sustain the repair and growth that we are seeing, and so with this same thing happening, we have not been able to replace instruments in the past as they have started to, just no longer be good due to old age and use by 6th graders and junior high kids, if you know them, and so we're kind of at a point now where our program has exceeded our inventory, and so we're kind of in dire need where we need to do something drastic to get the instruments in the hands of the kids. Even next year with the proposed plan, which I tried to spread out to be as reasonable as possible, there's still going to be kids sharing instruments as of next year. And so the proposal that I have made has kind of, we're trying to get instruments into the hands of kids while still being understanding of the financial circumstances the state of Texas is in with just educational funding. And so that is what you're looking at here. If you have any questions about anything that you see in front of me, feel free to ask. Some other things about this is We are also now limiting our students because of instrumentation to what they can play. We were just having a conversation with Mr. Borlon Ross yesterday. He was contacted by a member from Ferris ISD who sits on the state board for the prescribed music list for percussion. And one of the things that we don't have currently is a 5-octave marimba, which eliminates immediately 48% of the literature the kids can play for the percussion ensembles. You know, we have percussion instruments currently that just do not function. They simply do not function. There's parts missing, wheels fall off, etc. And that's just kind of where we're at. So we're looking to eradicate this problem and do it in a reasonable way, but also take some urgency in the matter as well.
Well, thank you. I think Ms. West did you proud when she made the presentation, making the case for, for the additional funds. Okay. Great, so that, very well done, and this is on 9G, and I think we all felt pretty good about that. So, yeah, go for
I
it.
make a motion to approve the purchase of instruments listed for students and adopt the budget amendment number 15, which covers the cost of the purchase.
Second.
So that was motion by Dr. Douglas and second by Ms. Cruz Perez. All in favor of 9G, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes unanimous.
Thank you.
And congratulations to the honors band.
I appreciate from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Congratulations to the honors band.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, we are anticipating great things from the growing band. So, understand the importance of making sure they have what they need.
Get that 5-octave marimba.
Okay, so now we'll go back up to 9A, and we'll go into discuss and consider HB3 Security Standards Resolution.
Okay, so Mr. Sproul will come down and discuss this with you.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
So this document you have in front of you is to clean up work that you actually approved last year. We decided last year that we couldn't afford to cover the district with police officers, so we went with armed security at 3 of our campuses. Part of that decision needed to be documented, and that's what this document is for.
And they kind of changed it after the fact on it. They hadn't fully, I think, had it developed. And so we had already adopted it and we're moving forward with it, and this came in later, a little bit later.
But they just wanted us to clean up what the decision was, how the district was going to move forward, and that's what we did in this document.
So just for clarification, there is no change that's happening. This
No.
is just something we have already agreed to, just that we just needed to go and sign off on it for
That's exactly-
documentation purposes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And this was drafted by our attorney, so, okay.
Well, I make a motion to adopt the resolution regarding House Bill 3 and Texas Education Code 37.0814, verifying the district's compliance with the standards stated therein.
That was motion by Mr. Glovier and second by Ms. Villagomez. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you have to read the resolution.
Yeah.
Okay, so the resolution. Wrong one here. Let me get back to it again.
Yeah, you have to go back to the screen.
Okay. So here is the resolution. Whereas Texas Education Code Section 37.0814 requires that each school district board of trustees determine the appropriate number of armed security officers for each district campus and sets a target of 1 armed security officer present during regular school hours at each district campus. And whereas Section 37.0814 defines armed security officer as a school district peace officer, a school resource officer, or a commissioned peace officer employed as a security personnel. And whereas due to lack of qualified personnel and funding, Kennedale ISD has thus far been unable to secure a qualified peace officer for each district campus and seeks to set a minimum standard for the provision of security at each campus. In accordance with Texas Education Code 0814C and D, and whereas in July of 2023, the administration and the Board of Trustees received and considered proposed standards for the campus security personnel consisting of a school resource officer or an armed security guard at each campus. And these proposed standards have been in place since the start of the 2023-2024 school year. And now therefore be it resolved that, 1, the Board of Trustees of the Kennedale Independent School District adopts the standards for campus security personnel resulting in 1 school resource officer or armed security officer per campus. And 2, the Board of Trustees hereby directs the superintendent or designatee to ensure the creation and maintenance of proper documentation of the district's compliance with Texas Education Code 37.0814 and the standards adopted herein. And 3, authorize the superintendent or designee to take all of the reasonable steps necessary to effectuate the intent of this resolution. Adopted by the vote of a majority of members of the Board of Trustees of the Kennedale Independent School District, present and voting at an open meeting on of the Board of Trustees on this day, which is April 30th, 2024, at which a quorum is present. Whew. Okay.
Good job.
Got a little mandates.
Dotting all the i's and crossing all the t's are what we're doing. Okay. Thank you. And we will be signing that resolution at the end of the meeting. That will be signed by the board president, myself, and the board secretary, Mr. Glovier. All right, so that takes care of our 9A, and we will now move to 9B, which is discuss and consider serving lines at JF Delaney Elementary. Good evening.
Hello.
Well, I come before you to tell you that Delaney's serving line has exceeded its lifespan. At Delaney. It's no longer repairable. So the thing that we're left with is to have to replace it. Now, we replaced the one over at Arthur, and it's a Moduserve. And we did it at a minimal cost because we were able to renovate it and use what we currently had. So instead of it being a $200,000 job, it was only $134,000. So the common sense approach to this for Delaney would to put in a serving line that would serve it for many years instead of 20. Because with Moduserve, you can update your line. It's modular. So if one part breaks, and like what we have right now is the serving wells, we have 2 serving wells on each line that don't work. And because there's no parts to replace them, there's nothing we can do other than use the warmers to keep things warm. But with Moduserve, you can replace that with another part and not have to remove a whole serving line. My recommendation is to use Supreme Fixture. They were actually the vendor that we purchased from for Arthur, and they completed it on time. And plus they're local, they're close by. They also replaced the wear washer that we had to replace over at Delaney in March. And because of the relationship and because they're close, that's who I recommend and hope the board will approve to have Supreme Fixture be the winner of the bid. We did have six bids, and Supreme Fixture was only $1,000 more than the least expensive and $300 more than the second one. So it just made sense, and they're local, and the other 2 were not local. Yeah, it does make a difference. And Arthur turned out so beautiful and on time, and that's the most important thing. If we're gonna get this done.
Things on time.
Yes, and it will be beautiful, just as beautiful as the one over at Arthur. And that's what I'm looking at, is it needs to be aesthetically pleasing to the eye and, the right height for the students.
Yeah.
And, long term, it's the best product out there. And we had intended to replace that line 4 years ago, before COVID. COVID hit, we didn't have the funds, and back then it was only $100,000 to replace line. Now it's $200,000 to replace a line. So we came off really good with Arthur. So my suggestion is if we could use Supreme Fixture.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
There's a lot to be said for previous experience with the company as well.
Yep.
And they didn't just do art, they also did the high school about 4 years ago, when we added the third line.
Okay.
Well, I move to approve the purchase of a new serving line at J.F. Delaney Elementary Cafeteria with Supreme Fixture Company as the recommended vendor for the project.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Glovier and second by Ms. Villagomez.
Thank you.
All in favor of the motion, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes unanimously. All right. Hooray for a
Thank you, Ms.
new
Humiston.
serving line. Thank you. We'll now go to section 9C, which is to discuss and consider changes to policy FDA local.
This is just with the tuition for our transfers, so, and pre-K. So, do we need to go any more detail, or we?
No,
Thankfully,
I'll
I
make a
don't,
motion.
Okay.
sorry.
Sorry,
Are
I'm
there any-
jumping in.
any additional questions or
This
needed?
is what we covered earlier, right, sir?
Yes.
That's all it is?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the policy revisions to FDA local as presented.
Motion by Ms. Cruz Perez,
Second.
and we'll second by Ms. Moody. Okay?
Nope.
No.
It was Serta.
Mr.
Oh,
Serta.
Serta?
It was Serta.
Okay,
Or
I'm
me.
sorry, that second is for Mr. Serta. My apologies down there.
This sounds so much alike.
All in favor of the motion, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes unanimously as well. We'll now go to 9D, which is to discuss and consider the 2024-25 compensation plan.
Any further discussion needed there?
Again, the benefits of having a work session before the meeting, we all are very aware of what the compensation recommendations are. So, recommendation.
I make a motion to approve the 2024-2025 compensation package as
Second.
presented.
So that was motion by Mr. Serta and second by Mr. Glovier. All in favor of the proposed compensation plan, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
We
And
need to start having light up buzzers.
Right. and
Like
we don't even have to
Family
talk.
Feud style, like.
and that motion passes unanimously as well.
That's awesome.
We now go to section 9E, which is discuss and consider proclamation 2024 recommendations.
This is not fine.
Okay, Dr. Boot?
They just got it ready.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am here today to talk to you about Proclamation 2024. Typically, I come to you every April and I talk to you about the instructional materials adoption process. This year's adoption covered science, technology, applications, social studies, and CTE. So, following board policy, this recommendation that I'm bringing to you comes from a committee that was made up of teachers, staff members, parents. The committee met multiple times over the course of the fall or over the course of the spring after gathering information in the fall, and they reviewed and provided a recommendation for state adopted materials. So I provided this list. We had representation from all of our campuses. 4 of our principals participated. We had program coordinators, we had classroom teachers come review the materials, come and participate with the committee, and we had a parent as well. So this is a timeline just to let you know how the process worked. We started by gathering information, making sure that we had everything that we needed to bring to the committee. And once the committee was formed, they reviewed the samples, met multiple times, used an evaluation rubric to make the decision, and finalized this recommendation. The evaluation areas on the rubric focused on content and instruction, teacher planning support, and professional development and technology. The recommended resources that I'm bringing to you tonight are included on the list of instructional materials eligible for adoption by the State Board of Education. And this is important because there are 2 action items in this presentation today. One of them is the certificate of provision, which states that the district is providing all of our students access to grade level content through the district purchased instructional materials. And so while there are different options for how these materials are selected and purchased, in Canada we rely on the state adopted list, which means that they're at the state level, these materials are vetted and they are guaranteed by the state to be aligned with the state standards. We had a lot of different adoptions and a lot of different courses this time around. So on the left-hand side, you will see all of the different courses, and then on the right-hand side, you will see all of the different recommendations by the committee. Per board policy, our committee makes the recommendation, and the board will ultimately make the final approval for purchase. So I included some bullet points about what is included for teachers. Of course, we have 100% TEKS coverage. There's customizable daily lessons, planning tools. They're compatible with our single sign-on through Clever, which is an important piece of that as well. Now, as you saw, there are several different adoptions, so this is just an overview of the different resources. And then the committee also is recommending resources that include additional support for students and their families at home. And so I'm here to take questions. At this point, it would require board recommendation to accept this proposal.
So, and maybe my eyes just didn't focus quick enough, is there a request for new software?
Yes, let me go. So all of the different pieces, so this is all, the courses are on the left. So these are all the courses that we're purchasing materials for. And then on the right-hand side, these are the different resources for individual courses. So for example, typing.com includes a variety of things related to tech apps. It's not just typing, but it is part of a digital platform, which would make sense for a technology course. STEMscopes has online materials as well.
And these are all new.
These are all new. So there is a schedule in which the state revises the state standard. It comes out of the State Board of Education, where they look at the current standards for individual courses depending on the proclamation, and new standards are written, adopted at the state level. So every time new standards come out, then the district is required to adopt new instructional materials. So yes, they're new. And they're aligned with the new standards that were released.
The new TEKS.
The new TEKS,
Yeah.
yes. And these resources will go into effect fall 2024.
So when they come back, this is everything.
When they come back, this is what it is.
So this is professional development for teachers over the summer to make sure they're able to use that curriculum.
Yes, we're offering professional development. We also have a very comprehensive and robust schedule for the welcome back, the 2 weeks when teachers are coming back. You hear, there's actually jokes on social media, not about Kennedale, of course, but jokes on social media about teachers attending trainings. But they're so important and powerful, especially when you're adopting new resources. So we're making sure that that's included in the schedule as well. I'm sure you'll hear nothing but great things from our community.
So I don't have a question. I did have a suggestion. You can take it or leave it. So because we get these robust conversations about how wonderful the curriculum is, if we could get an overview, not an in-depth, detailed professional development, like I know you're going to provide for
Like
the
the schedule?
teachers.
Absolutely. We even
But
have a
just the
Google
overview,
site.
so when they say, it doesn't have this, we can say, well, they presented to us and we were able to see that you're right, that might
I
not have
will
been.
send it to you directly, and also in our s'mores that we send out, there's the staff
The
s'more and
link.
the administrative s'more, there's a link to the professional learning site, and so we keep that updated. So right now, we have professional learning over the summer, and then very soon we'll have the new hire professional development as well as the returning teacher professional development.
Very good, Dr. Green.
I saw that calendar. I read your newsletter.
I appreciate that.
So you're welcome. So I'm here to vouch for that.
Thank you.
I've seen it.
We do try to communicate the information in a variety of ways because we're all
We
busy.
know.
We get that.
So this is in addition to Amplify. These are all just
So these are the courses that are included in Proclamation 2024. In addition to this, which we'll see after we move forward with this recommendation, we brought in Amplified this year. The ELA standards changed, but then there were lots of discussions at the state level about literacy and the science of teaching reading, and so we started using Amplify this year. We provided ongoing support, professional development-wise there. We'll continue to do that, and then we did receive a grant to purchase Eureka Math, or they purchased it for us, as well as the professional development going into next year, which I went to a school in Crowley, and it pairs very nicely. There's actually an Amplify unit about Eureka Math, and there was a panel of students, and they were very excited about it.
Eureka Math is the Amplify equivalent of math, for math, yes.
So The rumor is that beginning fall 2025, it's going to be Amplify Reading and Amplify Math. But an email was sent to executive director at TA who used to work in the curriculum world with us, and he was asked, is this going to be a change? And he said, yes, for fall 2024, it will be called Eureka Math. Fall 2025, it's going to be called Amplify Math. So he said it without saying it.
We get to go hear the commissioner talk about reading tomorrow at the Region 11, so, yeah.
I'm looking forward to
Lay
it.
out a bunch of this stuff about Amplify, sure.
I'm sure we'll hear no complaints.
He's passionate about literacy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any additional questions for Dr. Vu?
Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
So
motion.
I move to approve the presented instructional materials for the cycle beginning in the 2024-2025 school year.
I second.
Motion on Mr. Glovier, and I think Ms. Cruz Perez got the second on that. All in favor of the recommendation that was just made, let it be known by sound aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vu.
Now we have the second one.
And Dr. Vu will present the TEKS certification.
All right, 9F, the TEKS certification, discuss, consider the TEKS certification.
So these items are next to each other on the agenda because they are related. Up to this point, and this is a returning board, so you all have been part of this process for a long time. It was called TEKS certification. This year, they changed the name to certification of provision. It is essentially the same thing. It's even the same form as it was last year. But in asking about the different resources, this is included in your board packet, but we have this certification of provision. And essentially, due to some policy changes, the district has to certify that all students have access to grade level content. And that access is provided through instructional resources purchased and provided by the district. So when you hear things about, not in Kennedale, but in other districts, teachers purchasing things, that was something that was discussed a great deal at the state level, because then if you're lucky enough to get a teacher who purchases the right things, then you're lucky enough to have access to grade level content. But if you're not one of those students in those classrooms, and so it was an equity issue. So that's why it's so important that all of our students are using these adopted materials, because they have been certified at the state level to cover all of the grade level standards, the TEKS. So there were very few changes from what you signed and approved last year as far as this document. The big changes are what you just approved for the Proclamation 2024, and then the addition of Amplify Reading and Eureka Math. The others are the same.
So Dr. Vu, just to make sure someone who sees this after we have this meeting
Sure.
don't get confused, you're not saying that the only information that a teacher can provide is that comes through Amplify Eureka Math. They can still bring in additional resources to supplement, or can they not?
So that's a layered question. So if they're teaching a unit on ancient civilization and, there's some reading in the text, and maybe there's a video or another photo, and the teacher wants to bring in that piece to complement what's being taught, that would be something that's at the teacher's discretion. But if they were saying, I don't want to teach Amplify Reading, I would like to teach Huck Finn instead, because I love Huck Finn and I've been teaching it for 25 years, that's the part where it gets a little bit harder for teachers to bring in their own things, because it goes back to the equity question. Is that addressing what you're asking?
Oh, absolutely. Any additional questions for Dr. Vu regarding this particular?
I'm here. I'm very passionate about providing the highest level of learning experiences for our students, so ask away.
Mr. President is looking at me, and I'm trying to be quiet. However, just to clarify what Dr. Vu said, basically you're saying use the district curriculum.
Yes.
And don't do teacher pay teachers. Or
Yes.
something similar to that without the
Yes.
approval of your campus administrator. Is that? would
Yes, you
that
get
be-
approval from the curriculum.
Or from the curriculum department. It needs to be an approved.
Yes.
Aligned with this code that we just discussed.
And if you look into
Right.
board policy, there's actually, the policy changes have said teachers aren't writing their own curriculum and bringing it in. it's an equity issue because not every student has the same opportunities. So by adopting these resources that are on the state list, providing training to the teachers, providing, you know, the additional support, then all of the students have an opportunity to master grade level content. Bringing in something to complement what's being taught, I would never say, no, don't show that picture of the time you went to Greece when you're talking about ancient civilizations, but doing that in lieu of something that's in the curriculum or, included. And we introduced pacing calendars this year, and it was actually something, pacing calendars, I talked about with Dr. G during my interview. How do you ensure that we're staying on track without completely taking away the autonomy? And so with a pacing calendar, you get a 3 to 4 day window, here are the different pieces that you're teaching. And I said, I can't do it year one. It's so much, and it feels at first so confining. And also, it doesn't matter how great the pacing calendar is, there's always going to need to be adjustments. And so that's part of the summer curriculum writing process where we bring in teachers who have used the material for a year and have them make the adjustments as well. And so with the 3 to 4 day window, we'll say, then there is, some opportunities for, my students didn't get this. I'm gonna need to go back and I'm gonna focus on, this skill, but maybe I'll come at it from a different angle. And so with that, we also have, in addition to these tier 1 resources, we have another list for teachers of these additional resources that are provided for extension and intervention as well.
When I came into the district and I visited with every staff on every campus, all I heard was, we don't have. And what we didn't have was curriculum. We didn't have resources. We didn't have consistency. We didn't have, universal screeners that were consistent. We were all over the place with universal screeners. We have all those things now, but they're on a pace to get those things covered, and there's not a lot of room to bring in other resources to supplant, or replace what we're trying to use as curriculum now.
And that's part of the continuous improvement cycle. Is it's not you say this is this, and no matter what, this is what you're going to do. We're always checking in, requesting feedback, looking at it. The interventionists are meeting once a month, looking at it, adjusting as necessary. It's never going to be perfect. But there's a difference between the continuous improvement, always looking at it, revising it. You're right, that didn't work. Let's make it better next time, and do whatever you want. Just, that which is, when I started teaching, that's what I got. I wouldn't get, here's a classroom, here's a teacher's edition. We don't have the student books, but I'm sure you can figure it out. And that was that. And so we've come a long way since then, and it's great opportunities for students. But with that, it's freedom within boundaries. Here are the boundaries, and there's some flexibility within the boundaries.
Another thing that we've talked about was Amplify. This is the first year of Amplify, second year of Carnegie Math at junior high school, but first year, and what we've heard with other districts that are using it, a lot of that kind of ownership by the teacher, the more comfortable they get with the curriculum, they get with it, the more they're able to bring in some of their own
because they get quicker.
Personality.
They're able to get through things more quickly because they have done it before, and they're not spending as much time studying this particular lesson.
I just want to clarify what I just said, just so in case someone's watching this.
Of course.
It's not that you can't use that resource, and it's not that it's not a good resource, because some of the things that they have are good.
That's the
But
key.
if your administrator and the curriculum department doesn't know about it, that's when the problems
Or if it's
that you talked about with
in place
equity,
of.
right.
So in place of is
just
problematic, and I agree.
don't
I want to
email me.
reiterate what you said. It's not that there aren't other good resources,
Right.
because there absolutely are other good things. This is good, and also this is good, and also this is good. If you keep up with the news and even board meetings, sometimes teachers bring in things that
Correct.
parents find problematic. And so that's one of the benefits of sticking with these particular resources. And if there's something else that you want to bring in, it needs to be reviewed
By your principal.
by other staff members first.
And I'll give you another, when she talked about equity, I think the biggest way that I see equity is, I can go into a fourth grade classroom, ELAR classroom at Patterson. I can go into a fourth grade classroom at Delaney, and I'm seeing the same stuff being taught. And so that's where we didn't have that before. It was at the will of the teacher what was being taught in those grade levels in those classes. And so now we have consistency, we have equity, we have a curriculum, and yeah, those are all the things that have been brought in. As she said, when there were more than just me, but my questions were, this has got to get fixed, you know. And
I said,
so-
absolutely, it's gonna take some time. So we have the resources. This year, we focused on the content. So math, reading, we're focusing on specific pieces. Next year, the focus is going to be on instructional strategies. So you can take Amplify and read a story, but if you're still a teacher reading the story and the only time the students read, so you read to them, they read to each other, they read aloud, but the first time the students read on their own is when they take the STAR test, that's problematic. And that's part of why they struggle. And so part of Amplify includes teaching strategies as well. And so this year it was just read the lesson, internalize the lesson, bring in those pieces to what you're doing in the classroom. And next year there's going to be a really strong emphasis on the actual strategies for learning. How do you get students to not just be exposed to it, but really embrace it and learn it and master it?
I just wanted to comment and maybe clarify. It seems like you were saying within the boundaries, right? To use the curriculum, make sure there's equity across every classroom, every campus for the curriculum. But I've seen some very creative ways that teachers are still teaching that curriculum. So it seems within those boundaries, there's still a lot of room for creativity.
Absolutely.
Because we've seen some great things posted on some of the ways teachers are implementing the curriculum, the prescribed curriculum.
Like we bring in Lead Forward for new hire, that's just strategies. It's not content, but it's ways that you can
Strategies,
process
correct.
these different kinds of
You know,
information.
and I'm gonna say this, you know, I'm hearing that there's not a whole lot of room for play at, you know, the early childhood center. No, you know, there's not enough play. Well, as the teachers get more comfortable with it, that, you know, as she was talking about bringing in training on those teaching strategies, how do you internalize it and how do you make it more creative? How do you make it more, you know, come alive for the kids? That's where the creativity of the teacher comes into play, but they've got to internalize it first. And some teachers, and they're already there. Other ones are struggling a little bit. And this is why we're in the first year of implementation with this. It's only going to get better, but, you know, we're going to bring in more training on this. Ms. Wells and I have already had this conversation. You know, we want the kids playing at the early childhood center. You know, we don't want it so rigid that, you know, it's like curriculum. Yes, we want the curriculum taught within the boundaries, but then make it creative, you know, and I've already had some discussions with some teachers. They're finding ways to make it creative, you know, and to extend that learning for the students. Yeah, you know, so I think that's the next steps.
Okay.
So,
All right, very good discussion. Any additional questions?
Yep, I'm ready to go.
We're all good? All right, cool.
Well,
Make a
with that-
motion to approve the 2024-2025 certification of provision of instructional materials form as presented.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Douglas and second by Mr. Glovier. All in favor, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes unanimously as well. Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Vu.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. And the
All right.
curriculum department.
Yes.
All right.
I was on the committee, that's fine.
We now go to section number 10, which is the superintendent's report, and that again goes to Dr. G.
and I'm going to be very, very quick because we've had a lot of presentations tonight, which are awesome, but I told you in our agenda meeting that I wasn't going to spend a whole lot of time. So our enrollments, you have the enrollments all the time. You can kind of see where we're at. I mean, it hadn't really fluctuated a whole lot. SLI presentation, I just found out that we were approved to present at both SLIs, the one in San Antonio and the one in Fort Worth.
Yay.
So
Very cool.
we will be presenting on basically our path from what we were gonna do with pre-K when it became full day to a $98 million bond, and our path through all of that and how we worked through it with Mr. Gabois and OBR, and so he will be working with us on that. Not everybody's gonna be able to present at each one, so I kinda need to know who wants to present in San Antonio and who wants to present in Fort Worth, you know, with me, so.
I don't know if we need to say that right now.
You don't have to say it, just figure out which one. If you
Yeah.
can't make Fort Worth, then you may need to do San Antonio, and if you can only do Fort Worth, then that may be better, and just let me know who, and I know you won't be, you'll be out of town.
Right.
So, out of
Right.
the country, actually, so.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going for work.
won't
I
there.
said work.
Uh,
I couldn't get out of it.
When do you need to know about who can do what?
I just gotta let them know who to put on the thing, so.
When would you like our input on this presentation?
Well, I'm gonna send you a rough draft on it, so, you know, and, you got some things, ideas, we'll see if we can incorporate.
I can't speak in public, but I can definitely.
Basically, it's just kind of going through, you know, the process and what, you're gonna be speaking to other board members and just basically kind of the thought process you went through as we were going through all of this, what your questions and what your concerns were. Speaking to that as a board member, that's what the perspective that I want to present to
That's
them.
what I was, yeah, that's the part I would like to add, because that would,
Yeah.
if I was attending that session, that's the step that I want to highlight as a,
Yeah.
from the board, so that's good.
So I want our presentation to actually have meat for them
Yeah.
to take away from it, so, and I think it will.
I think it's really relevant too.
Not just be a
A lot of
sales pitch.
districts are probably concerned about that.
Okay.
That's good.
So I'm working on the outline of it right now, so I'll get that out to you, so we can go from there.
Sounds good.
But just give me your preference, which one you think you would like to be at, and, well, that way I can get it to them. And then,
Can we step back 1 second? I know the enrollment numbers are here, but I think it's just, I loved seeing this number and just making note of it. The Success Center graduates is 14.
Yes.
And I think that's a recapture of 14 students that had to work super duper
I thought
hard.
it was 17. Is it
He said
14?
It's
well, I think
14, but
I
it
think we
says-
had 3 more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in the
since
last
then. So
17.
17, okay, so 17, students that worked really, really hard to get that graduation degree. And I think it's an
Big
amazing
one.
number.
Yeah.
I just made the comment at our executive meeting today that 2 of the things that I am most proud of, obviously the Early Childhood Center and the Wildcat Success Center.
Yep.
Those 2, I think, are gonna be some of the most impactful things that we have done in this district.
Yep,
So,
that's correct.
yeah. All right, and then construction update, really don't have anything.
Let's hear it.
Where
Where we
we
at?
don't have anything. Where are we at?
Where we at?
Baseball, softball.
We're in the middle of all of it.
Very good, Ms. Moat.
We're still
Political answer.
fighting that struggle with that daggum concession stand. It will get done someday. But we've run into some more little hiccups there, and as we iron them out, we will be meeting with Delaney tomorrow to go over their design and color palette and all that fun stuff. We're still working with the city at the junior high, still some storm shelter type stuff going on there. The high school, we're getting ready to kick it full gear. We'll start staging for the roofs and the HVAC and the lighting changes as soon as school's out. The 29th, because we're gonna have a meeting on the 28th in the PAC. The PAC will also get started at that time. So it's fixing to be a really fun time in Kennedale ISD.
What's left on the concession stand, Ms. Moat?
Do what?
What is left on the concession stand?
We have some permitting issues with the city. The city hasn't done any wrong. They just need to get it filed and get it taken care of. We have some ADA stuff we have to get in place to be compliant, like handrails.
Really?
That kind of thing. Waiting on some signage to come in. And unfortunately, those silly little things like that keep us from opening.
You have to get a certificate of occupancy, and we can't get that until certain of those things are done. Signage, certain signs have to be in place, yeah.
So that's it, you didn't find it, the way you said you found some more things, I thought maybe there was
Another water.
a burial ground or something that
No,
was not on the original
gas.
plot.
These really nice planners that, Miss West was like, well, here's one for G and here's one for you. We're getting there. It's been an arduous process getting through that. If I could do a coulda, woulda, shoulda, we probably coulda, woulda, shoulda something else, but it is what it is, and we will get it done.
No. I just wanted to go over it, because I know from the out, if you're just walking up, you're like, well, what's left? So that's
Yeah.
all.
And striping the parking lot, they've got to come in.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking, why haven't they moved those barriers and all that and condensed it down to where we can open up and park? But they got to stripe the parking lot, and they haven't got that. And weather, rain, no rain, washing everything, cleaning it up so they can paint it, yeah, all that good stuff.
I want to say something to what Ms. Mode said. We're getting it done, but we're getting it done right. And I know I'm on Kennedale Moms as well, so I understand the frustration. But when you take the time to do it right, you don't have to go back and fix what someone else did. So a lot of it, the frustration, it's going to be beautiful, it's going to be nice, it's going to be award-winning baseball complex, softball as well, but we're trying to do it right.
And the
And
other thing too
so-
that I've said multiple times is, I don't think any amount of, which I know it's frustrating, and
Yeah.
I know it's taken way longer than it should, but if there was anyone at the top of the list that wants to get it done, and like yesterday, it's, yeah,
Right, it's
exactly.
Ms. Mode.
So it's not like we're dragging our feet,
No.
you know, wanting to extend it any longer than it
It's
even.
really nice too, once we get a chance to tour everybody, it is very,
Yeah.
very impressive. It's
You know, one thing,
We'll be very
not having that did not keep them from playing baseball or softball.
No, with their
You know,
blonde hair.
and the
they look
coaches,
great.
perspectives was awesome and fantastic. They're like, Mr. G, we're fine. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be able to play and we're gonna be all right. We don't have to have that.
I wanted to speak, since you brought that up, at the baseball, because I have a freshman that plays baseball, at the baseball parent meeting, some parents brought it up, well, when are we gonna, and the coach goes, we're gonna play baseball, I'm not worried about what's happening outside of the baseball field, so I liked that the coaches were like.
Well, I was gonna speak at that parent meeting to address
He
some of
took
the stuff.
care of it.
And he took care of it. He said, I said, do you want me there? I don't wanna take over your meeting. And he said, no, I got it, Mr. I was like, okay. So he handled it.
Exactly.
But,
And they're winning.
like I said, it is what it is. That, it will be done by the end of this year.
Nobody chose it.
It may be the end of
Right.
this year, but you know, it is gonna be done, but we're moving forward with all the other construction projects. Robert is gonna have a much more in-depth explanation of everything that's gonna be going on at the end of May board meeting. So he expect a full kind of report on construction at that meeting.
Awesome.
All right, and I'm done.
Thank you. Speaking of board meeting, that brings us to our next section, which is the board discussion. So as always, the first thing I like to do on the board discussion is when are we going to meet again? So suggestion is May 23rd, if that's going to be a good date for everybody.
Is that the day before graduation?
That's the day before graduation, so I don't know, but
Could we do sooner?
The other option would be the week before, which would be the 16th.
We're gonna be in awards.
We have
We got all the
awards. I don't
awards
think
and
we're gonna
all
be able to
the-
move it.
That's
Is there
right.
an issue with having it right
yeah,
before
let's keep it
graduation?
to the 23rd.
I can't do that night.
23rd.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that night
21st.
either.
What about the Wednesday instead of the Thursday, which would be the 22nd?
Or Tuesday.
Tuesday, the 21st?
Or Tuesday, the 21st? I think I'm available for both of those days.
Anybody on the calendar looking? We have,
The 21st works best for me, but I'm just on
What's good for you?
the 21st, that
Yeah.
Tuesday.
nothing? Jordan? Okay, the 21st is clear.
Events wraps up about the 20th. Most of the events wrap up around the 20th.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to give,
21st and 22nd are fine.
just to give you the upcoming district events that I have listed here, the Wildcat Award Ceremony is gonna be May 8th from 7 to 9. The EA Senior Banquet is May 14th from 6 to 8. The Class 24 recognition is May 16th from 7 to 9. Class of 24's, the Senior Walk, which is always fun, is May 17th. And they'll do that between 9 and 11. The kindergarten graduation will also be on May 17th at 10 a.m. The Night of Bright Stars, May 20th, and then graduation day itself is going to be May 24th. I'm going to hate that I will be missing that this year. I'll be out of town. But if that Tuesday, the 21st, seems good, we can go ahead and schedule our next,
Yeah.
our next board meeting on the 21st at 6 p.m. All right, is that good with everybody? So we'll go for that for the 21st at 6 p.m.
Do we anticipate needing a work session before?
I don't think we're gonna need a work session. We got the compensation plan
Tuesday the
done, we got a lot
21st.
done, so I don't think we'll need a work session. Okay, Ms. Wells, you wanna talk about the plan with the seniors and the kindergartner?
What we're trying to do is, our graduating kindergartners are gonna walk with our graduating seniors.
Oh.
And they're gonna walk the halls of the high school, because they'll be there when
Yeah.
We're gonna invite their parents and the senior parents to come watch that, so.
Yeah.
That's on the 17th?
On the 17th.
Where are they beginning? It's gonna be at the high school?
It's
At
gonna be
the
at
high
the high school. We're gonna be at the PAC because we graduate at 10.
Okay.
And we're gonna get there early, and we're gonna do that before we, rehearse.
And
Okay.
before the seniors take off to the other campuses to do their walks on the other campus.
Very good.
So the kindergartners are gonna walk the halls.
With the high school seniors, everybody's gonna get one.
Oh, they're gonna get a partner?
Uh-huh.
They're gonna partner up.
I know, that's gonna be wonderful.
Actually, it was actually Mr. Cagle's idea, and
I know,
yeah,
I'm tired. I
they've been
don't
working out the
I
details.
don't wanna
over
walk
there,
anymore.
so.
No, I need a wagon, pull me.
All Mr. King.
Well, he sent the picture.
Very good.
Another school
I think I
district
need to
did it,
take
he
a
just sent the
half day for
picture,
that.
so yeah, but and then y'all worked out the details, so. yeah.
Very
I
good.
think that'd be the cool sites. Kind of reminds you of the soccer games when they come out and they'll have the juniors.
So we hope that we're starting a new tradition.
Very good.
So how will the senior walks work? Because I had that down, like there was a 9, 9:30, 10, 10:30,
I
11.
think he's rearranging it.
Okay,
But they normally go from campus to campus and walk. through.
Yeah.
right. But if we're gonna be having kinder graduation at 10, I mean,
Well, they're gonna do
walking
the
in-
walk in
Have
the,
to walk
in the
early.
high
Walk was at
school
10 in
earlier
Delaney.
than that, and then they're gonna go over and do their practice, and
Yes.
they're gonna have to practice, and then they're gonna do theirs, but they'll do their, what time do you think it's gonna happen at the high school, about 9 o'clock? We'll have more details as they get it lined out, but.
Okay.
so.
No, we won't.
So they're not going to JAA to walk the halls of
We're gonna walk here at the high school.
Yeah,
okay.
so they're gonna
So
come
will the
through.
walk at Delaney still be 10?
I have not been told an exact time.
Yeah, he's gonna have to work out the scheduling, so,
Okay.
yeah,
So
so
just
they're,
look
that's
at-
what they're working on right now,
Okay.
is reworking the
It's
schedule,
tentative.
so.
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
I was just telling you that that's gonna be happening, so
Right,
the
okay.
schedule is still being worked out, so.
Okay.
Works.
Our board self-evaluation, we know that we want to go ahead and, let's, if you have completed that already, let's pass that to Dr. G. If we have not, let's bring it by the admin office on tomorrow. They'll compile the numbers and they'll bring them back to us. If you have those, pass them down, please.
Can we,
You're gonna copy and
I
cheat
just want to clarify,
somebody?
because I think I have 2 of the 3
Yeah, we're
completed.
gonna, he's missing one too, so we're gonna have to
I
get,
just want to clarify
I'll
which
bring
3.
we're gonna get it sorted out.
Okay,
Yeah, it will be sorted out.
okay.
I'll get the others.
Okay.
The last one.
I need to change some numbers on my evaluation.
Yikes. Okay.
Okay,
All right, okay. All right, thank you guys very much. Number 12, let's go to personnel.
well, grassroots resolution.
Oh, the grass resolution.
If y'all have anything, it's due by certain, if y'all have any resolution that you wanna present to TASB or have TASB look at, then we need to have it voted on at the next meeting. I haven't heard anything from anybody that y'all feel that strongly about to create a resolution on for advocacy, so, you know.
Funding,
Huh?
funding.
Well,
You
Write
gotta-
it up.
Yeah, you have to write it up.
you wanna
ma'am.
wrte it up, present it, and we'll
That
get it
sounds
to me,
like,
and we'll.
that you have taken the reins on that, Dr. Douglas. I,
Write it up and I'll second it.
am absolutely in favor of you
sign.
doing that.
And then your tele certifications for your
Oh, that's
hours.
right,
for- and your
okay.
things.
I'm trying to push this through, so.
Yep.
Tele certifications, we pass those out or we?
They're in your packet.
They're in your packet,
mail
so
packet.
you each have your certifications inside your envelope.
I got it, yeah.
Get those, frame them and hang them in your home on your, right above the mantle,
Yes, sir.
okay? They're big,
Take it down.
big time stuff.
Take down the family picture.
That's
put
right.
That one up.
Mr. Surtis said he's taking down the family picture and he's gonna put up his certifications.
We're gonna put it next to the trophy.
It's not,
All right.
it's not with the trophy, I'll tell you that.
Okay, so now we'll go to 12A for resignations and retirements. Dr. G, what do you wanna do with
I
that?
have nothing that I need to go into any great details with. You can read the stuff if you, does anybody have any reason why we would need to go into closed session on personnel? Okay, all right.
Okay, so that would be, are there any other matters concerning the board here that we should, is not on the agenda? And I just say that because nobody said anything, so I don't think that there is anything. But I do know what's coming next.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Glover,
I motion to adjourn this meeting and get up out of here.
out of here it is.